I'm at some point, Sammy, I'm curious about you were growing up. Your parents raised you well and supported you in sports, but you were obviously a driven athlete and you wanted to be an Olympic swimmer to start with. Can you describe a little bit of your journey? Because not all kids are driven. Your parents weren't pushers, I believe, according to your
Correct.
book. They let you choose your path.
I think like a lot of women my age, we didn't grow up with parents as pushers because that just wasn't the norm or really thought of within women's sport. So I think on a certain level, we had that privilege that we were allowed to explore, as long as we had parents that allowed us to play, we were allowed to explore various different avenues that we wanted to pursue without the perhaps the end goal of a professional status. So there was never ever that pressure. What's really interesting, and this could be a whole nother Sharks topic, but yeah, I grew up in a very loving family that were super supportive of whatever my brother and I did. And my brother ended up swimming down in Texas, NCAA. And so clearly they, had kids that were very driven, but also allowed us to have some life balance as well. My husband didn't grow up in that kind of family, left home at 15. And I just feel like that's what is so amazing to me is what allows that athlete to succeed. And for him, it really came down to sport and coaching and being seen by the right person. It was just a grandmother of a child who had a disability that saw him on the street. He was skateboarding one day with crutches and asked him to come play with her son wheelchair basketball. And he never once got driven by his parents to anything, and yet had this inner drive that allowed him to still supersede all of that because of a connection to a sport. And that would be such an interesting conversation, because it's one thing for me to say, I made it through, but we had the money to play sports, we had the opportunity, and I was, lucky to have support within the household. But I'm always incredibly amazed by people that don't have that and still succeed and how they manage. So that's for another day, because I think we could talk about that for hours. But
before we get over to Tim and Mr. Whitney, the Sammy ended up on a track and field scholarship, carded athlete for Canada at Berkeley University.
I went to Stanford. My brother went to Berkeley.
Pardon me. I think I've got that wrong all my life. But
anyway. I went. Those are massive rivals. So my brother ended up at optometric school after he went to Texas and played on the men's hockey team for Berkeley. And we actually played against each other. And he was terrible, Tier 4 hockey player. And he just got demolished by some of my teammates. And I just giggled because he did that to me my entire life.
But she ended up playing with the guys' team and it ended up coming to a national camp where I scouted her, and the rest speaks for itself. So that journey is, you never know with the kids. And I think they're going to choose what they want to do in their lives. Tim?
What I love about this group too is it doesn't matter what they do, but the influence. And I am lucky enough to be inducted to the Manitoba Hockey Hall of Fame. So that's coming up in October. And trying to think of people to invite, that's as you get older, you go through these things. And the coaches for me that were so impactful in my minor career, like in my youth career, actually were not hockey coaches. And in fact, I struggled to remember many of the hockey coaches' names. But it doesn't matter what you're coaching. What matters is what you're instilling in the athlete, and they're going to go on to become incredible people. It doesn't matter if they become hockey players. And I think that that's what I love about this group is that's really at the base of everything that you guys do. And try to instill in others.
Excellent, Sami. Tim?
Yeah, I just I have to go, but I didn't want to leave silently. I just wanted to take the opportunity to let everybody on the call know. I just this weekly call is just fantastic for me. And Sami Jo, I'm really anxious to hear your and Billy's your stories and experiences.
Tim, I'm gonna need all your help and all Michael's help because I feel like you guys are right in it.
Yeah.
After I use up all my really good drills in the first 2 days, I'm really like, what?
Well, yeah, you might just throw the whole drill book away after the first game or whatever. But anyway, and Wally, just thank you for hosting this. It's I don't it's just fantastic that somebody like me can participate in a group like this, and I hope everybody has a good week.
See you, Tim.
See you, Tim. Take care.